Andrew Lloyd Webber. Even the name is enough to strike fear into the hearts of mere mortals. So Andrew Lloyd Webber is a composer of mainly theatrical music. He's also written a Requiem Mass, and he wrote a set of variations based on the famous Paganini Caprice. And people hate him. People really despise him. A lot of people quite aggressively hate Andrew Lloyd Webber. You know, they say he's the worst thing to happen to music, the worst thing to happen to musical theatre, the worst thing to happen to all of us. Which is fine. Everyone can have opinions. That's how the world goes round. Please understand this video is not about me. It's not about my opinions. It's not about my personal opinions whatsoever. I've got a lot of them, but not for this video. This is about other things. So yeah, people generally either criticise Lloyd Webber for no reason. Just a lot of people dislike Lloyd Webber. I should dislike Lloyd Webber. I dislike Lloyd Webber. But then a lot of people do give some really interesting reasons as to why, mainly regarding his arias, his songs, the Andrew Lloyd Webber songs that we all know from like the greatest hit CDs. Things like, I Don't Know To Love Him and Don't Cry For Me Argentina. You know, his songs are very harmonically simple, melodically simple, very cliche, very almost pastiche, sometimes borrowed from other music, such as, Mendelssohn and Ravel and Bach and Pink Floyd, and they're all really interesting reasons to dislike Andrew Lloyd Webber, and I'm really engaged and interested in those. But here's the thing, if you take a typical Andrew Lloyd Webber show, such as the one I'm going to analyse today, the songs, Andrew Lloyd Webber songs, don't take up that much of the show. The show I'm going to look at today, the songs take up a whopping 17% of the entire show. 17. So you're really going to despise a composer based on 17% of his output? My gosh. What's the other 83% doing? Well, let's find out. Okay, I've never heard anyone address, let alone criticise or analyse the other 83% of a Lloyd Webber show. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to look at a show excluding the songs. Everything but the Andrew Lloyd Webber songs, because we know those. We don't need to look at those. We're going to look at what's in between to see whether this man is a charlatan or is a genius. Interesting. Well, let's find out together. So, The Phantom of the Opera, a mystery never fully explained. This is a show by Andrew Lloyd Webber and Charles Hart and Richard Stilgoe, based on the book by Gaston Leroux. It was written in the 1980s. Let's go. So the show starts mid-sentence. Sold. Your number, sir? Thank you. It's an auction on the stage of an opera house. Interesting. So the first bit of music we hear is a bit of diegetic music. There's a musical box, which is being sold in the auction, and showing here, and we hear this. Okay, so let's have a look at that. It sounds like a music box. It's up in that register. It's played on a Celeste on the keyboard. It's music boxy. That melody, we don't know what it is yet, but we will soon learn that this is the melody of the song Masquerade, which is all about masks, literal masks and metaphorical masks, which is a theme prevailing throughout this entire show. So that's the first bit of music we hear, which is appropriate. I'm also a sucker for that chord progression. You've got a tonic, then you've got a dominant. But he keeps the bass note on the tonic, so instead of getting, you get this. That dissonance, which I think is beautiful. I'm a sucker for that progression. Anything I hear that in, I'm like, oh. So me personally, that's one personal opinion, I do like that chord progression. Okay, so the first bit of non-diegetic music we hear is this. Raoul, the character, is an old man, and he's just won the box. And he has the box, and he goes to sing. Oh, good gosh. That's the first bit of non-diegetic music we hear in the whole show, and it's that. It's a minor seventh, which is quite a dissonant interval, and there's going to be a lot of minor seventh, major seventh, minor seconds, major seconds, tritones throughout this whole show, so straight away it's quite easy. Raoul sings a collector's piece indeed, every detail exactly as she said, to this melody. A collector's piece indeed, every detail exactly as she said. It moves to the open fifth when he's remembering these things exactly as she said. Now the minor seventh. She often spoke of you, my friend, your velvet lining and your figurine of lead. So this harmony is moving in such an unexpected way. We have not established tonality, we have not established key, we just have mood and atmosphere. Let's look at this melody. So this is what we're going to call the fear theme. It's laden with fear, not just sort of like fear, but, you know, sort of anticipatory fear, which is made up of some interesting intervals. We have a minor second, a tritone, and a major second. So they're some of the most dissonant intervals that we consider to be dissonant these days, and the theme is pretty much based upon that. That theme will contort and change throughout the show, which we'll look at soon. Then the orchestra has this theme on a keyboard, a patch, which is keyboard 2, which patch I believe is called auction. Appropriate. And it says, oh, so, you know, we feel the people that are scared of something, why would they be scared? Well, then we have another theme, which goes, which we're going to call the Phantom Anticipation theme. The words that will be put to that quite a lot in this show are, he's here, the Phantom of the Opera. And we'll hear that a lot all the way through this. And it's anticipation, what's about to happen. Oh, uneasy anticipation. We've had all this fear music and we've had this anticipation. Well, hell breaks loose. We've got the chandelier shoots through the stage, is sparks and flashes and lightning bolts and all sorts of things going on. And we have a full pipe organ playing the title song, The Phantom of the Opera. And it's straight away we're put in that place. You know, we all remember the Hammer Horror Herbert Lom movie where he's playing the Bach, where he's playing that on a pipe organ, and we're reminded of that. We see pictures of the sort of Phantom in his lair practicing away. And this is the first of many pastiches throughout the show, many purposeful, meaningful pastiches. This is sort of Bach, Baroque, toccata, organ. You know, there's a lot of real Bachian writing, a lot of... a lot of that sort of thing. So straight away we imagine, you know, this figure playing a pipe organ. And what would the Phantom have practiced? You know, he's got an organ, he would know sort of Baroque music, classical music, music written at the time, romantic music written at the time. But, you know, Bach handled this sort of stuff he would have practiced. So we straight away have an image of the Phantom at his organ practicing away. Exciting stuff. Now, we all know this song. Probably most of the audience will know the song before they even have seen the show. So Lloyd Webber does something interesting. Instead of giving us when the full orchestra come in, because until now it's been a click track, and when the orchestra come in, we expect... that's the song we know. But no, he gives us this other harmony. He gives us... so there's this sort of tonic pedal note over C chords with passing notes. So we get, at this point, the whole opera is a flashback, and we're back to the grandeur days of the opera house, and we sort of hear all these sort of uneasy sounds. There's something uneasy in the air. Maybe there's literally, you know, a singer warming up over there, or a bassoonist playing something over there, so maybe there are literally different sounds, but we get this idea of, you know, it's not easy. E minor, A, B. It's not all is well. Then we have the second of our 4 pastiches in this show. So this is a pastiche of sort of 19th century Italian opera. We have the big opera diva on stage who sings a ridiculous cadenza. We've got this... so it's like, okay, we're at an opera. And we have this really sort of Verdi-esque bit of opera. It's a fictional opera called Hannibal by Chalamet, which goes... very camp, very over the top. But, you know, straight away the audience gets what's going on. We know we're in opera land. And there's some fun recits too. Then it becomes clear we're actually at a rehearsal for an opera. We're not at the actual opera. Then Carlotta, who is the main opera diva, sings an aria. She sings an aria called Think of Me, which we'll talk about in a bit, but this aria is interrupted by something happening. I think a sandbag falls, or a bit of scenery falls over, and there's an interruption, and we hear the anticipation theme, the Phantom of the Opera, with what I'm going to call the threat idea, because it's not really a theme, it's just an idea, which is a pounding bass. Whenever that comes, we've got the idea of a threat happening. So we have, he's here, the Phantom of the Opera. This is the first repeated theme that we've heard already, then the second repeated theme, which is the fear theme. He is with us, it's the ghost, which is based on. But something interesting, Lloyd Webber hasn't just copied it exactly. No, he's made the intervals so we have a semitone, then not a tritone, but a fourth. So it's not quite as jarring as the first time we heard this melody. Maybe, you know, people are a bit familiar with this occurrence. Maybe they're a bit used to this. Maybe it's not as shocking and jarring as the melody at the start. Maybe, you know, it's a bit more comfortable. Maybe this sort of stuff happening is a regular occurrence. Maybe we're telling a story through music. So we've got lots of that. There's also some choral cacophony told through music. You have the sopranos and altos going, he is with us, and then the tenors and basses doing like, he is with us. You've got it, which is fun. That's what happens. And interestingly, you stretch even further, so we have a fifth that time. So as intervals getting bigger, as more excitement and chaos is happening, but we still haven't quite had the tritone. It's quite not as uncomfortable, it's not as shocking, it's not as dark as that, because maybe we're all used to it. Oh, it's another thing, alright, here it goes again. Maybe these things have happened before. Then we have an Andrew Lloyd Webber little signature figure, which is this. So that's I'm in the wrong key. So that's an F sharp, followed by a G and an F. So it's like very dissonant, very clustery, sort of working around tritones. And that appears in so many of his shows. It's in Jesus Christ Superstar, you know. It's in Cats, it's in Evita. It's in so many of his shows. So that's like his little signature. And then Bouquet, the stage manager, who needs to explain what's happened, sings, "Please, monsieur, don't look at me." So we're back into tritone land. Maybe he's genuinely scared. He's like, right, this has happened so many times now, I don't know what's going on. Tritone. That's the fear theme, so it's all laden with fear, always. And then Meg sings the anticipation theme again. He's here, the Phantom of the Opera. So there's more of that anticipation of something happening. Then Think of Me happens. Christine sings Think of Me. We all know Think of Me. I don't need to look at that. Although I will say, Lloyd Webber, it's a Lloyd Webber song, but he does remind us at the end we are in an opera by putting a little cadenza into it. Which is big sort of operatic aria ending. So, you know, he is being sympathetic and reminding us that it is still an opera. Then we move into the dressing room. This is the first time we hear the Phantom speak. We hear brava, brava, bravissima. So what's going on there? He's taken the Lloyd Webber signature, but he's pushed it so that it's just a tremolandi in the strings. But the Phantom sings a fairly tonal melody. Maybe the Phantom's interested in mixing dissonance with consonance. Maybe the Phantom's interested in sort of bitonality and dissonant music. It's the first time we've heard him speak, and that's the first sort of music that he's presented to us. Interesting. So then angel music happens. I'm not going to look at it in too much detail, but I will just play it because we're going to look at this theme later, which occurs in quite important places. It's... We know Angel of Music, great, so they sing that. Now, something absolutely astonishing is about to happen. So, Meg and Christine are having this conversation about the Phantom. They're going, if Christine goes, he's with me even now, your hands are cold, all around your face, Christine, it's white, it frightens me, don't be frightened. So, he sets it to this. He's with me even now, your hands are cold around your face, Christine, it's white, it frightens, don't be frightened. So what's so massive about that? Well, if we reduce that to just chords, it's not Miss Saigon, but it is whole tone. So what that means, the whole tone scale is used a lot by Ravel, used a lot by Debussy, used a lot by 20th century composers. It was used by Liszt as well, incidentally. But yes, they're talking about the Phantom, and they're using this sort of whole tone music. Maybe the Phantom's interested in that sort of whole tone music and 20th century music. Ooh, the plot thickens. And then we have more of this fear music when she leaves us. She's handed a note. And it says, fear, why are we scared of a note? That's sort of Lloyd Webber's signature again, is a semitone without the... So it's not quite as dense and terrified as that, but it's just a bit scared. That signature theme. Then Raoul enters, who is the sort of love interest, and he sings to her saying, you know, Christine, there she is, we haven't seen each other for ages, how wonderful, I love you. To just wonder, little Lottie, let her mind wander, little Lottie, thought am I fonder of dolls or goblins or shoes? So he's just reminiscing with her. But underneath we get this. So what's going on here? They're minor chords, but they're whole tone. They're B, A. So why would Raoul be singing this idea that we've previously heard associated with the Phantom? Well, maybe Christine is hearing that while Raoul's just speaking, because Raoul's just going, little Lottie, let her mind wander. He's just speaking in monotone. Christine is hearing this music. Maybe Christine's not thinking about Raoul. Maybe she doesn't really care about Raoul at this moment. Maybe a man walks through the door and she's hoping it's going to be someone else, maybe the Phantom, because there's that, she's hearing that whole tone musical language underneath his speech. Interesting. Then Raoul leaves and we have... So we know what's about to happen through music, okay? This is storytelling, because that we've worked out is a sort of theme of anticipation. Every time that's happened, we are anticipating something happening, and what does happen? The Phantom comes in, and he sings a bit. Then they sing the Angel of Music theme, but when Christine sings it back to him, we have this, what I'm going to call the idea of threat. So she's going... And that pounding bass is, I'm going to call the threat idea, which is going to be used a lot in this show, that every time that happens it's a threat, and there's an element of threat. A stranger has just appeared in her mirror. Is it a ghost? Is it an angel? Is it something else? It's all a bit threatening. What's going on? And so we're already as an audience a bit frightened and a bit uneasy. And that theme is continued then with... And the Phantom sings, I am your angel of music. And we have these clusters. Ooh. So he's singing that anticipation theme that something big is about to happen, but something threatening too, and we know this. We don't have to hear the words, we know that this is happening just through the music that Lloyd Webber has written. Storytelling through music. Then we have the title song, The Phantom of the Opera. I don't need to say a lot about this, everyone knows it, everyone hums along. But I will say, how cool that he's chosen to do a big heavy metal rock number in this. You know, what is rock? It's dangerous, it's exciting, and that's what is happening to Christine. She's feeling this dangerous things happening to her, and it's very exciting. This tall, dark stranger in a mask has whisked her away to somewhere mysterious and exciting, and we've got electric guitars and electric drum kit, and it seems so counterintuitive to have a really heavy rock song in the middle of this fairly operatic musical, but it's not, it's so perfect, it's so dangerous, and you know, the Phantom is there, and all of that excitement and danger will be ripped away from this song when we hear it again later in the show. Incidentally, the two main songs, The Phantom of the Opera and Musical Night, the two most well-known songs at least, are used so sparingly in the show. They appear once again in Act 1, and then they both appear in the middle of Act 2, and then at the end of the entire show. So they both use pretty much the same amount, and they both use very sparingly. It's all this other 83% that I keep rambling on about that pervades the rest of the show. And of course, throughout the Phantom number, we have that bass all the way through it, which is the idea of threat. So even though there's all this excitement and danger, there's still an air of threat about it. Christine sings a great big top C. It's also click-tracked. And then the Phantom sits at the organ, and he conjures this up. He says, I have brought you to the seat of sweet music's throne, to this. So, what's happening? This is the first time we've heard him play music. So it's whole tone, it's minor chords, but they move in different directions. So the left hand's going down, the right hand's going up. So we get this biting bitonality. You know. And this is the first time we've heard the Phantom make music, create music. He's playing this himself on an organ. Maybe this is the sort of music the Phantom enjoys. You know, maybe this is the sort of music he writes. And I also enjoy when he says, you have come here for one purpose and one alone. And we hear this. He goes, I have come here for one Is that the purpose she's here? Maybe that's the Phantom's music. Maybe the purpose she's here is because he wants her to perform his music. The plot thickens, ladies and gentlemen. That's the end of part 1. Stick around for part 2.